Hello everyone, AlphaSoul here, and welcome to another video. We've got a new article to go ahead and cover that was just released hot off the presses from Intrepid Studios over at Ashes of Creation, and the article is called Know Your Nodes, Advance and Destroy. Now this is the second one within the Nodes article and is another addition to this Know Your Nodes, or Know Your Nodes month, if you will. So far Intrepid has actually kept up their promise with releasing this information in a timely manner, and they seem to be releasing it at the clip of once a week. Unfortunately, there's not much left in March, so we'll see from the live stream that's upcoming this Friday if there's anything additional that they're going to go ahead and release. Maybe there's time for one more before the month lets out, but yeah, so without any further ado, let's just go ahead and dive into the article itself. So I'm just going to give you guys a quick, succinct kind of summary of, you know, the methods of which you advance a node and the methods of which you destroy a node. And then I'm going to kind of end it with the questions that I have that are outstanding. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the advancement of a node. Now, as it was covered before, there are 6 stages of a node's progress. It ranges from wilderness, which is the very first level, doesn't have any buildings or anything, up to the 6th level, which is a metropolis, which is basically the largest node you could potentially have. It's bustling city, it's a lot of things around it, and I believe that they said that there was only 5 metropolises that would be present at any given time in the world. I could be mistaken on that one, but I'm pretty sure that that was one of the things that they said. So it appears that the way that you advance a node is to collect experience within that node's zone of influence, or the area around that zone. And any experience collected contributes to that node's advancement. It looks like you could do things like quests, crafting, killing monsters, exploration, gathering, building, and other things. It looks like almost anything that you do within that node will grant that node experience, so that node can then level up and become a larger node, if you will. The other cool thing that they mentioned was that cultural experience also is being flagged on this. So the highest amount from a single race would determine the next stages of what a node is actually going to look like. And the example that they gave was a Renkai versus a Pyrai. So if most of the experience for that node as it levels is from Renkai, then the next load, as it advances into the next level, all the buildings and things of that nature will be Renkai oriented. And it looks like that the culture also determines the cool things like, outside of the looks, quests, storylines, and it says benefits to the dominant culture, which is very interesting. It means basically that, if you happen to be a Renkai orc and it is, you're in a Renkai town, that you'll have some sort of benefits. I'm curious to see what those are, just because, there are potential implications to that feature, if you will. So we'll see. But anyways, it advances once it reaches that threshold, if it's actually able to, and they make sure to highlight that because, as you know from the last nodes article, there are, vassal nodes and then there are parent nodes. So if your vassal node is, say, at level 5 and your parent node is at level 6, then, your level 5 node can't advance to level 6. You can't go any higher. I mean, that's a bad example because of a metropolis, but you get my drift. A vassal node can never achieve the same level or go higher than the parent node. So that will also be a ceiling. Now, they went into specifics as well and just kind of explained that, the intricacies and the details around that experience. So for example, if you are at your max level, or if a node is at its max level, any additional experience that it has will then be passed up to the parent node at that point. So, so these vassal nodes will essentially be feeding experience into the parent nodes as well to help them grow stronger, which makes me actually think that there's going to be a severe kind of tier of experience as you go up in each of these nodes, with parent nodes and nodes that are metropolises essentially requiring multiple vassal nodes to be chugging experience into them in order to go through it. And it also basically kind of outlines that you need to maintain experience as well, because you know what, I'll touch that in a second, but you have to maintain your experience because there's a daily experience debt that the node kind of accrues naturally. So you need to offset that at the very least. And then finally, on the advancement portion, events and accomplishments can also enhance or hinder your experience gain. So the example that they gave is if you strike a new trade deal or bargain, that'll potentially, add to the experience that is gained from trade quests or things of that nature. Whereas, if you lose a war, the whole node kind of will suffer for the experience for that. And I get as a attacker, you'll suffer, but I will touch on that a little bit later. So now we move on to the atrophy aspect of the node, how nodes de-level, if you will. So as I touched on earlier, every day a node naturally decays a certain amount, and that experience collected by the node is first used to pay off the debt, then it applies to the node to level it. So you basically have to pay off that debt first, and then it levels it. You can, as you're de-leveling, let's say you don't make up that experience, and the experience you gained causes you to fall below, the experience you lost causes you to fall below the threshold from, say, a level 3 to a level 2, you're gonna lose, that level of the node. It looks like there is a node safe period, meaning you lose that level and you can only ever lose one level at a time, but you lose that level and you don't have, I guess, experience loss for a bit before the process starts up again and the node begins to de-level, right? It looks like war and losing a war will cause your node to essentially destroy or implode, destruction. It'll go to level 0, at which point and it'll essentially be from the ground up, or from the ground, basically. So that's pretty interesting, and it's pretty wild. It's pretty harsh to me, but we'll see how it actually turns out. So if you lose that war as a defender, then you lose that node, and you'll have to pick up and pack. Either stay there and try to regain experience, or you'll have to pick up and pack and come back at another time. They stated other things. When that happens, your freeholds get purged. All freeholds that are in that node get purged, and, we'll find out, I guess, what happens to those. And then, that's pretty much it. So starting at level 3 and up, a node can potentially be sieged. So let me go ahead and end this with the questions that I actually have that I'm really curious of this thing. And I've actually asked some, and hopefully they answer some on their next live stream. First question that I have is, how exactly does laying siege to a node actually work, right? With castles, like, I understand that, you've got a castle, you've got to get to the center to get that objective and claim that center, whereas the castle needs to repel the defenders. But with a node, that doesn't have, these natural walls, or at least I've seen, it's a town or whatever level it's at. How do you defend that node, or how do you win that node in that war? I'm curious how that's going to work. The next thing that I want to know is monster levels. Now, they touched on this a long time ago, if you will, and I'm wondering if it still holds the same, but they essentially stated that monster levels will vary based on the node strength and the node level. So the way that I thought of it in my head was a level 0 node would have 0 to 10 creatures, a level 1 node 10 to 20, and etc. going on. I'm wondering if that's still going to hold true, because to me, I'm curious to see with that structure if Ash of Creation will hold up with a healthy kind of leveling area for all levels that are available at any given time. I'm curious how that's going to work out. It might be a silly thing, but I'm just wondering how it's going to work out. The next thing I want to know is the racial advantages to be the dominant race, and if it actually encourages guilds to be in the same race, things of that nature. I'm curious to see what those racial benefits are. And then finally, I want to know about the other identifiers. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a line specifically in the cultural section which states, each player's contribute experience is flagged with their character race and other identifiers. I want to know what those other identifiers are. I'm curious to see what they have in store. They may not be revealing it because they want to keep this one close to the chest, but I am really curious to see what they have for it. And it does sound exciting. So that's pretty much it, guys. This was a great article, in my opinion. It definitely has sparked a lot of thought within my head, and I think it's a lot of information that people can chew on. And yeah, just a good article all around, and has got me hungering and thirsting for more, if you will. So that's pretty much it, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are on this, and I'll see you later. Alpha Soul out.